Stud pitchers. The Marlins organization is littered with stud pitchers. And today, delighted to welcome on one of those, a prospect, but nevertheless a stud, a future stud, Karson Milbrandt. Look forward to digging into that one, what he's done thus far, and equally what we can expect in the future from Karson. This is Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. It is your daily Marlins podcast. I'm your host, of course, Peter Pratt. Hit me up on X at Miami Marlins _UK. If you listen to the pod, of course, hit subscribe, leave a review. It's your team every day. And thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. Guys, there's a YouTube channel. You know there is. Make sure you've hit subscribe there also. If you are watching, you will see that I have a guest. I've already, teased out there is a guest, but delighted to welcome onto the show, debutant Karson Milbrandt. Karson, how are we doing, brother?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. This is going to be a fun episode. We're going to kind of look backwards a little bit. We're going to talk about the present and look to the future as well. So it should be a real fun conversation. Guys, before we get into that, we do have a sponsor, of course, today, and that sponsor is our good friends over at FanDuel. Yes, sir. And you can make every moment more. New customers join today, and you get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, so let me set the scene, and then we're going to get started here as well. Right now, I would say by MLB pipeline anyway, Karson, the current 11th ranked prospect in the Marlins organization. We'll see how those things adjust as we get into the 2024 season. Nevertheless, drafted in 2022, 85th overall, top 100 pick in the 2022 draft. Yes, sir. Karson, let's start with the draft because I'd like you to try and describe to me, if you can, the emotions that you're feeling as an 18-year-old leading up to the draft itself and also on the draft itself, and then being picked by the Marlins 85th overall. Just try and describe the emotions for me if you can.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was super grateful, because I had my family and a bunch of good friends there. That was awesome. You hear me?
I've got you back. You're back. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, so what I was saying, I was super grateful. I had a bunch of friends there. My family was there. So a lot of those guys I grew up with and my family, they sacrificed a lot of time and money to kind of come watch me play and, this tournament. So I was super grateful for all that. And just to have that all pay off, it was super exciting. Exciting was probably the best word to put it. I was pumped.
Good word. How could you not be excited, I guess? Leading up to things, where was your head at? Were you, clearly you have a decision to make, right? You don't know who's going to draft you. You don't know the situation. But, were you leaning at this point to, listen, I'm likely to go into pro ball at this stage? Was that the lean at that point?
Yeah, so actually leading up to the draft, I was enrolled into Vanderbilt. I was at Vanderbilt for summer classes. So I came home for the draft. I didn't really know where I was at because first day I didn't get picked and I knew I might have, so I didn't get picked there, but I actually had a paper due the next day. But I was kind of banking on getting drafted. So I didn't do that paper and then I didn't get drafted. So I was like, shoot. So I started to type up my paper and then my agent called me. He's like, hey, we got some deals set up. This is how it's looking. Obviously Marlins. So I was pretty pumped and, end up going with the Marlins. So
let's go. I love it. So the main takeaway here is that you decided to sign with the Marlins here primarily to get out of submitting a paper and having to do the work. I get it. It makes total. It's the best excuse ever, right?
Right.
Professor, listen, I can't submit this paper. I'm out of here. I'm going to be a pro baseball player. Happy days. Absolutely love it. Like you mentioned, you don't have any you don't have control who takes you and where.
Right.
But I must say, like, from a pitching standpoint, the Marlins end up, taking you, the deal looks good. You're feeling confident about that. But, recent history is telling us that, like, the Marlins is probably a really good landing spot for you, I guess, in terms of, like, developing talent, etc. So it must have been, like, relatively high in terms of, like, destinations you were thinking about. Like, okay, if the Marlins come, this could be a really interesting spot for me, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like, you look at Yuri, like a guy like Yuri Perez, 20 years old and he's in the majors dealing. So
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing, right? You want to put yourself in the best spot to succeed, and be in the right culture that and in an organization that knows how to nurture that talent. And you can see it firsthand, how it looks. And this, I know you mentioned Yuri, but you can look at many other guys over the years too, and it's been just it's such a good landing spot. So yeah, no surprise you're excited about that situation. Mainly to get out of the deal, the paper you had to submit. That's the best takeaway that I've had. So tell me about Karson Milbrandt, the pitcher. What are if you were to describe to someone that had never seen you pitch before, and they said, "Listen, what are the strengths? What do you bring to the mound?" How would you describe that?
Yeah. So, I mean, what I've been told is that, like, I'm pretty athletic on the mound. I did play a bunch of sports in high school. I was pretty good at basketball. So athletic for sure. But, I just like to go at guys, attack them. I had a few more walks this year than I would have liked. But this next year, I'm really excited to actually go out there and just compete a lot, and then kind of get after guys.
I like it. Aggressiveness then, right? That's the one. It feels like, I obviously watch a ton of the big league club, and it feels like that's the mantra right at the top. Like, just be aggressive. Like, get into the strike zone, just be aggressive and trust what you've got. And is that kind of where your head's at too?
Yeah, pretty much. Last year changeup was kind of a newer pitch for me because I didn't throw it in high school. But
it's the Marlins, baby.
Yeah, but they've had me hammer that pretty hard this offseason, even at the end of last year. So I'm really excited to have that it's more comfortable now. So I'm excited to have that pitch under my belt this year.
Yeah, how's it feeling? In the kind of repertoire, like in terms of comfort levels, I guess you're known for the fastball in many ways, but where's the change starting to feel in terms of, like, comfort levels for you versus the other, your more prominent pitches, I say?
Like I said, like the end of last year, I was throwing 30% of the time. So I was really getting a feel for it last year, and it kind of carried over to the beginning of this, off season, obviously. And then now that we're actually throwing pens and kind of ramping it up, it's carrying over pretty well.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that is, again, it's another hallmark of the Marlins organization, right? It just somehow, not somehow, but there's clearly a method behind it. But it's like everyone's just got lights out changeups, it seems, and at all levels. And so it doesn't shock me. That's one of the first things you say of, like, yeah, the Marlins are really pushing me hard on getting that changeup in there. So it's encouraging to hear. I guess I'm going to ask you about stuff you've been working on the off season shortly, and actually, after the first ad, we're going to talk about kind of your key learnings or takeaways from what I would describe as your full minor league season last year. So we'll do that shortly. But before we do that, we will cover our first ad of the day, and it's our good friends over at Gametime. And let's get these graphics going for Gametime. Yes, sir. All right. So Gametime, you guys should be all over this one anyway. But you shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, theater, everything near you. And they've got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So they've got deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, even an hour before it starts. Yes, you could just look at the watch and go, I'm going to go. I need a ticket. Gametime's got you covered. It's the place to find last-minute seats. You can find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Is there more? I don't think there is. And with zone deals, you can pick the section, and Gametime will pick the seats for big-time savings. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. There we go. We're back. Peter Pratt and Karson Milbrandt hitting it up on Locked On Marlins. Let's go back to last season. A full body of work for you, full minor league season. Splitting time between Jupiter and Beloit. Look, kind of 50-50 in terms of like innings, maybe 60-40, maybe, I don't know. Like, I'm not great on percentages, but pretty much split. So we started in Jupiter, and then heading up to Beloit. What would you say were the main takeaways for you from the year itself? Like, what surprised you maybe as well?
I'd say a big takeaway for me was just kind of like learning how to pitch. Coming from high school, you get behind an account, you can throw 3 fastballs by a guy, but everyone in pro ball has seen that. So kind of like mixing in pitches, moving pitches around. So that was pretty my takeaway. Yeah,
I like it. Does it feel different when, in high school you're blowing the fastball by, 3 fastballs and it's too much gas, right? And then, but does it still feel as, or even more so, even more pumped where like in the pros now you're blowing a fastball by someone for a strikeout? Does it feel different now?
It feels more rewarding for sure. The blow a fastball by a guy nowadays is like, it's rewarding for sure. Cause high school, you can do that all the time, but it's pretty, I wouldn't say rare in pro ball, but it feels pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have like, well, maybe you're working on something here. Is there some sort of like K-strut you're working on or something that's like, you're going to really pull out? I don't know if you're thinking in that way. I mean, I feel like it's rude not to maybe, but are you working on something there as a K-strut?
Not really. I'd rather not pick my fights if I make the wrong guy mad, I'd rather not get ran at. So, but maybe coming up soon in the next few years, I'll work on one.
There we go. Let's put that on the development kind of on the board at some stage. I don't know. All right. So main takeaways, were that you were learning to pitch. Really, it's like trying to piece things together and almost like, I guess maybe the strategic element of pitching, like trying to actually think about, how to do it in many ways. So, what went well for you when you look back on the 23 season? What do you say? You had things you were working on, but what actually went well?
I'd say obviously like getting called up was pretty exciting. First pro year to get like a taste of high A, where it's not a lot of people get to do that for us coming out of high school. So I thought that was a good thing, but it was a takeaway, but it was also like, I consider it a good thing learning how to pitch so that when I come in this year, I'm competing and I know like what to think whenever I see like a bad swing, like if a guy is ahead of my fastball, I'll probably speed up his bat way more with a changeup. So it's kind of learning how to pitch and getting swings and misses and what to do off this pitch. So that's kind of still kind of a takeaway, but I consider it as like a good thing that I learned. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. For sure. And how did the levels, did you feel the levels like from low A to high A? Did it feel different to you, significantly different?
I didn't think it was like a big difference, but obviously the people in low A have a lot better of an approach versus like low A, you can kind of get a better with like you could spike a curveball and they might swing at it versus high A, they might, they've seen it before, they'll spit on it. That's not what they're looking for. So obviously the approach was kind of a big thing for me. Yeah,
it makes sense. And when you're thinking about like 24, like what's the goal for you at this point in terms of like where you'll maybe start, where you'll end up? What's that future looking like for you in this year?
Yeah, can't really complain with where you start. It's just kind of what you do, where you're at. And obviously I want to prove myself, as one of the better pitchers in the league. So just want to keep on working up and go from there.
Yeah, makes sense. The other thing too, it's possible. I mean, the Marlins organization's crazy, but it's possible that the Beloit rotation could be just insane I mean, I don't know what the future holds, but like you look at like Noble Meyer, Thomas White added to the organization.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly these guys will progress. You're going to be, who knows how your year pans out as well, but there's a pathway where like the Beloit rotation is just absolute filth.
Yeah.
I don't know how close you are to those guys at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously you weren't on the same teams or anything at the back end, but man, it looks a really interesting group. Obviously, a year or so older than those guys, but man, oh man, the future's looking bright. And, how does that help? Like if you've got like a load of like really, talented dudes all together, how does that help you in terms of like both like having someone to lean with, but also like maybe the competitive juices kicking in as well?
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's, you're competing. I mean, you're your friends, but at the same time you're competing with them. So everyone's kind of pushing each other. Everyone's trying to one up each other. So it really brings out the best.
Yeah, for sure. Man, oh man, that it's going to be a fun for us as fans watching, and maybe less so for the guys that you're facing, I guess. Having to go through against you guys, it could be a lot of fun. So one other thing just to mention that's kind of like topical right now anyway was the non-roster invitees to spring were announced a day or two ago. Yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Losing track of days. And one of the names that really stood out on there, the youngest name as well anyway, maybe even younger than Yuri. I didn't even look to see if he could have been, but Javier Sanoja is on the non-roster invitees list. Looking at things, you guys pretty much played like the whole season together, like your time tracked and overlapped perfectly. So, for those that maybe aren't as familiar with Sanoja at this stage, what are your impressions on him as a player thus far?
Yeah, I mean, I loved him. He's a little guy, but he brings some fire for sure. If someone's not doing anything right, he'll let them know. He keeps people in check. I mean, he's all, like I said, he brings fire. So if you're looking for a pick me up, you can talk to that guy and he'll fire you up for sure.
That's good. Love to hear it. And I mean, like it must be also encouraging from your perspective to think, all right, I've been with this dude all year. He's firing it up, but also he's head to spring camp. Like you're thinking, I'm close. Things could be close, from your perspective, which must kind of light a fire. And you've talked about Yuri as well. I mean, he's ascended quickly. Sky's the limit for anyone in this Marlins organization. I think that must be like a really big incentive for you and for the rest of the guys as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone, especially like you said, like Noble and Thomas and Jake Miller, those guys are, we're working hard because, like you kind of said, it's right there. It's in reach. So everyone's working hard. Yeah,
for sure. Is Yuri like seen as like a god now? Like, does everyone just look at Yuri and just like, oh, I mean, he's huge anyway, clearly. So maybe you would, but like, it must be kind of crazy to have, someone that young, progress as quickly as he did and also succeed and kind of establish himself at the big league level so quickly and like effortlessly too. Like to the outside looking in, it looked effortless. I know it probably isn't for him, but yeah, I mean, it's how do you guys look and see Yuri now? When are you texting him saying, go and get him, big dog, or what's going on?
I mean, yeah, he's a great guy in the clubhouse. He's a really nice guy, but honestly, he's like the new standard, You're like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like Yuri, 20 years old and dominating. So he's definitely kind of set the standard around here for the young guys and kind of going from there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see, and it must be so motivating as well. And like you said, he's a great dude, and obviously you can connect to him and lean to him for experience and whatever. He'll probably be saying, just keep working that change up. That's probably what he's saying. All right, well let's hit the final ad, and then we can kind of look to the future a touch as well, and also some kind of a couple of fun ones at the back end and a bit of kind of off the field action here as well. So we'll cover that. But before we do that, let you know about our good friends, of course, over at wrong graphics. So there we go. We've got FanDuel queued up. Guys, come on now. Happy Super Bowl to all that celebrate from FanDuel. See what FanDuel did there. America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. Maybe even just taking in the halftime show. That's what my wife is looking forward to. I know that. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a dub or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for, of course, which players will score a TD. We're looking for a high-scoring game. How many points will be scored? We're looking for a high-scoring game. And so much more. New customers, yes, new customers join today and you get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Simple to get in on the action. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner, the NFL. All right, guys, final segment of the week, actually, with me, Peter Pratt, and Marlins stud pitching prospect, Karson Milbrandt. We have got into the draft. We've talked about the 23 season. We're now in the off season. You've kind of lent into this already, but you know what does what I would describe as your first pro, like real pro off season, like having like a full body of work as a pro? What does your full first off season look like? You know, how much recuperation goes in? Then equally, what are you working on and how are you staying sharp? And I'll end there, and then there's a few follow-ups from that.
All right, yeah. So we get done in September. I think we got done September 10th this year. Obviously, you know, this is the longest I've been away from my family. It was like 9 months where I hadn't been home. So went home, was super, super nice to see family, my dogs, friends, and all those guys' family. But I think I took like a week and a half off just to let my body recover, you know, long season, lots of work. So then after that, you know, it's right back to it. I took 2 months off from throwing. But other than that, you know, you're in the gym every day, you're running, you're getting after it for sure.
Oh man, there's no rest in here, right? I mean, you know, a week and a half and that's it. So it's mainly, you know, like you said, you're kind of taking a little bit of time off throwing, like let the arm recover as well, right? But so what kind of like exercise? The reason I'm asking is because New Year, I've made a few New Year's resolutions here. One of them is to drink less wine. I don't think you've got that problem at this stage, but anyway. The other one, though, I've committed to is doing more yoga and Pilates. That's become my thing, is like yoga, Pilates, because, you know, I don't know. Anyway, so when you're trying to rest the arm, what are the things that you're kind of doing at this point, like to keep the body rolling? Like, what are the things you're working on?
Yeah, so actually yoga is a big one of them, you know, keep the body mobile, keeping it in shape. Yeah. So I got to keep that up. But then just weightlifting and eating's a big part of it too. Lots of food, lots of, you know, I have a meal plan. It's like chicken, steak, rice, all that good stuff.
Okay.
So
have you got to cook for yourself? Like you got the chef in or no? I guess it's.
I'm starting to chef. Which I'm actually not terrible at it, but I'm not the best either. But I'll cook dinner every once in a while for my family.
Oh, that's good. There's something I at 18, 19, I had no ability whatsoever cooking. But then I discovered HelloFresh. Do you know what HelloFresh is, by the way?
My mom uses it. My mom and dad use it, yeah.
There you go. I discovered that, and that is like life-changing for cooking skills and actually for shopping habits. Like everything just turns up and you're like, hey, follow the recipe and let's go. And so there you go. Muscle in on the HelloFreshes for sure. So, okay, that makes sense. Now we're getting closer to action now, right? We're in the early Feb. You know, what do the next couple of weeks look like for you now? Or when is it like really start to amp up, I guess?
Yeah, so I think I got Pens this week, Pens next week, and then live VP the next week. And then the week after that, I think we kind of have off, but I'll probably come in, same thing, kind of bullpens, maybe see a few batters. And then after that, it's spring training. So
yeah, exactly. Let's go. It comes around quick, right? I mean, when you only take 1.5 weeks off fully, and then, you know, it's like the buildup starts. Like at this point, are you feeling like antsy? Is it like, I just want to get back out there and start like properly playing? Are you feeling that now?
Yeah. You know, you're working. I mean, it's pretty much your job now, you know, you kind of live for getting back out in the field. So I'm definitely getting antsy for sure.
Exactly. All right. So looking ahead for 24 then, you've mentioned a couple of things you've been working on. What are you hoping to see as like as the biggest gains? When you, let's say 24's happened, you look back and you go, right, I had the biggest gains here, here, and here. Like what do you hope that looks like for you?
Kind of like what I touched on earlier. I did have a few more walks than I would have liked last year. So even being more just attacking the zone with every pitch and just filling it up pretty much.
All right, walks down, strikeouts up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes with the walks. Less walks. Hopefully, can punch more guys out. But
a few more K struts, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. See how the year goes. I guess. All right, so makes total sense. I think it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year in the organization in general, I think, and equally, like, I don't know if you would have felt or seen this yet. I guess that's the question. Is clearly there's been a big shift and a big change just in terms of front office and all the kind of stuff that's going to go around that. Have you started to feel that at all right now, or is it a little bit too early? It's more of like you'll kind of feel what the differences look like, I guess, when you get back out there on the field itself.
I mean, I've talked to a few of the new front office guys and Rachel, who's the player development, and they're kind of, I don't really feel a change, but they're really good people and easy to get along with and make my job a little easier, just to like tell me some things, their feedback. So yeah. I guess I kind of feel a difference in that. Just kind of chatting with them, but nothing too different.
Yeah, exactly. You probably get in your own focus lane in some ways, where it's like, I know what I want to work on. Like I've got my goals. I know where my development areas are, and it's like, unless anyone tells me to really like get out that lane, like, you know what you need to do. Probably is it in some ways. So it's going to be an interesting year for the organization generally to see how some of these changes like translate up and down the organization. And as fans, we're excited to see that as well. Talk to me about Karson Milbrandt off the field. A lot of baseball talk. What we've already realized is we're yoga brothers at this point, both looking after our bodies. But what else? You already mentioned you're into tons of other sports as well, but like, what keeps you busy off the field? What keeps you entertained off the field?
Yeah, so I love hanging out with friends. I have a girlfriend that I like hanging out with. Obviously, she's awesome. Family, because I go away for 9 months, so I really enjoy hanging out with them. I have 2 dogs that I love. They're awesome. I'll occasionally play some video games. Yeah.
What's your specialist game?
Pretty good at Fortnite.
Okay.
Pretty good at Fortnite.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. It's not my specialty, put it that way. Actually, I don't have a specialty anymore. I think maybe it's a lot out of practice maybe on that front. But all right, the video games kick in. What about like Super Bowl's coming up next week? Are you pumped for the Super Bowl? Are you like a football fan as well? I know you mentioned you're more of a basketball guy, but Super Bowl wise, you're getting pumped?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. So
you're pumped.
Yeah. I'm pumped to see it, for sure.
No doubt. You're not going to the game, right? You're not going over to Vegas, right?
No, we got stuff that day or the next day, I guess, or else I would 100% be there.
Okay. I assume you're expecting a Chiefs victory as well, right? So, well, you're hoping for one anyway, no doubt.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. There we go. Absolutely love it. Should be good. So we got that obviously that'd be a wild game, and as a Chiefs fan, even more so. Do you have a Super Bowl tradition for you guys? Like, I mean, and the Chiefs are always in the Super Bowl seemingly at the moment, but is there Super Bowl traditions you got in the household as well?
So we're actually like where we live on our street, we're really good family friends with a lot of guys on the street. So there's a restaurant in Kansas City called Red Door.
Okay.
And we go there every time the Chiefs are in like the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. So yeah, it's kind of it. We just go there and eat and watch the game.
Perfect. There's nothing wrong with that situation. I'm like that with my holiday decisions.
Yeah.
I find somewhere I like. I know it works. I take the risk out of it because I want to have a good time.
Exactly.
I'm just going to go there. And that's the same. The Red Door is that for you. Like, we know this is going to be a good time.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm with you. So, all right, good. One final one, then we'll get out of here. We're pretty much on 30 minutes, and that was the time I promised. So I've done well for once on my timings. I've asked this question to a few guys over the years. It's sometimes maybe hard to answer, so I'll just kind of preface it that way. But if there's to be an MLB comp for Karson Milbrandt, who would that player be? It could be a current player. It could be a former player, but it could be someone you've modeled your game on. I don't know, but who would be the MLB comp to you?
So I hear it a lot. I don't really know because I don't really watch baseball. I played enough where I don't really watch it that much. But a lot of people tell me I look like Walker Buehler and I kind of pitch like him. So I hear that one a lot.
Yeah. Take it. You take that one, right?
I'll take that one. He's pretty consistent. hard to not like that. So
hard to not like that one as well. I don't know why, but when I think of Walker Buehler, the first thing that comes into my mind is like tight trousers and tight pants. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you go for the Buehler pants as well, or do you go for a little bit of a looser fit?
So my whites actually are a little looser than my grays. My grays are pretty tight, but my whites are a little looser. So it's a little bit of both. It's a mixture.
Oh. Yeah. Why the difference in the fit for the one to the other?
Well, I think I just messed it up. Honestly, I think I grabbed the wrong ones and I just kind of went with them. I was like, they're a little tight, but legs look good in them, so just kind of rocked with them.
Absolutely love it. Not by design, by accident, but sometimes the best accidents are the best situations, and then you end up with the tight Buehler fit for the the Buehler 2.0. So love it. Karson, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting with me, and for sure. And I'm sure the guys listening in for Locked On Marlins have really enjoyed it. Guys, we're going to wrap it up there. That is the final episode of the week from Locked On Marlins. Hope you've enjoyed the week itself and hope you've enjoyed this conversation particularly. I'll, of course, be back on Monday. Thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen, guys. I will look forward to seeing you next week as we really, really start gearing up for spring training. We'll look forward to seeing you then.